Apply a knock. You can do it by hand with a taper tool. Like that. And with a little bit of glue that on. Here's my marking. So I want that 180 degrees turned. Apply some glue, rather thick glue. Our super glue is a bit more yogurt-like. It's a bit higher in viscosity. And rotate that 180 degrees away from the marker we just made. The rotation also makes sure that the glue gets dispersed correct inside the knock. Machine taper tool, nice, fast, and especially when using bamboo, we'll see that later on, because it cuts the material away faster, that makes sure that you don't get any splinters. Simple field point for this target arrow, glue, plenty of it, and that biting sound tells me it is a very tight fit, which is good. The arrowhead is on there and the knock is on there, so I'm going to glue some feathers on. Now, I have not shortened the shaft because I have a rather long draw length. It is good practice to shorten the shaft about an inch away from your draw length. That gives you some room to play if you mistaper or splinters do come off, and it also gives you some room in case the arrowhead breaks off by hitting a tree or a bit of armor, so you can re-glue it. It also helps you not to overpull. Now, be very careful when shortening your shafts, because there is the option that you do pull the bow beyond what you think is your draw length and the arrow goes inside the bow. That is dangerous. So if you're not really adept to archery, keep your shafts full length so it's nigh to impossible to overpull. Shortening, good practice, tells you this is my draw length, and it also corrects the spine value a bit. Let's glue on some fletchings. One can use many types of fletching jigs. This is a very simple cartel jig, bear paw, Sherwoods are also very nice. These nice things, or full-size grown-up jigs for long fletchings. Now, since with this target arrow we'll be applying short 5-inch fletchings, most jigs will do. You can do it by hand, of course, but it's a bit of bollock. Right. Make sure the clamp is clean. There's no residue and no leftovers from other glue-up jobs, and it's always good practice to have some grease or some fat inside the clamps. That makes sure that if you do put too much glue on the clamp, your fletchings do not glue to the clamp but only to the shaft. Put the feather in there, a small amount of glue, like that. That will do. Set the jig to 0. Put the shaft in there. We always glue the indicating feather, the cock feather, first, if you're going to use different colors of this. Glue that on there, squeeze it, wait for a couple of minutes. Squeeze, pull, rotate. Now if you want this to speed up this a bit, put some polyurethane varnish on the shaft first. Just a thin layer with a dip tank or just with a sponge, because then the glue will set way faster. Just a tiny bit of glue, especially with this super glue. If you overdo this, it will soak into the fletchings, will stick into the clamp. It's going to look horrible. And we'll wait a couple more minutes. So by now this one is also set. Rotate once more. And we'll glue on the last one. Quite often there's a scale on the clamps that will tell you that you're consistent, or you can make a consistent glue up. If there's no scale on there, get a marker and draw one on there yourself, so you know you're sticking these on same spot every time. That's the third. And again, some patience. We should have done this a day before these recordings. Well, we didn't. Watching glue dry. Yeah. And that was the third one. Take this out. Check. Some minor corrections can still be made. Now, since we've glued this up with super glue does not stand moist well. So if you, like me, shoot this in the grass, the fletching will get undone. So we need to waterproof it a bit. The easiest thing to do is get some official fletching glue, a bob in the front and alongside the quill to close it up a bit. A little drop of glue in the front also protects your hand if your knocking point is not correctly aligned and you're shooting off the hand and not off a shelf. This helps, and it also prevents grass from sticking under the fletchings. Arrow done, ready to be used. That's how you make a target arrow. Very simple. To upgrade this simple target arrow, put a small bit of whipping in front of the fletchings and just over the fletchings. Create a loop, rotate a couple of turns around, then rotate the shaft so you can see what on earth you're doing, and just go slightly over the beginning of the fletchings. You're not trying to shorten the fletchings, you're trying to protect the beginning. Cut the excess material. Go through the created loop there and pull this short bit. So you tuck the end or part of the end underneath the whipping or binding just made. Very sharp knife. Careful, you may cut yourself. There and there. Cover this with some varnish, polyurethane, because it dries rather fast, or any glue. Get your fingers dirty. Waterproofed fast. Simple, done.